Hey everybody, what is going on? Serial Overdrive here, and today we're talking about Rust Console Edition community servers. Yeah, we're talking about it again, but this time for a whole different reason. This time we're talking about it because D11 reached out to me regarding some of my past statements on community servers. I've got some corrections and I've got a little bit of new information that probably nobody else has talked about. So yeah, we're going to be talking about community servers. Hopefully this is going to be a very informative video. Now, before we get into it, I want to let you know, maybe I'm just having my wool pulled. Maybe someone's just dropping some shit over my eyes. I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty gullible, so take what I said with a grain of salt, but this is what D11 has told me, and hopefully I do believe them to be true. But when it comes to gullibility on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm pretty much a 69. I was streaming on Twitch once. Someone told me that there was someone in my house. I spent the next 2 days looking for it. I called the police 5 different times, and finally a detective came and told me I didn't even have a face cam. Anyways, the detective told me not to call again, and I never figured out who was in my house and how that person even knew someone was there. So now let's go into this information that G11 dropped on me and also go into the things that I got wrong. So as far as things that I got wrong goes, the first thing that I didn't even get this wrong really. I implied that they were hosting on cloud servers, which is not the case. What they're doing is they're hosting on bare metal servers. So what the difference is a cloud server, it can sort of be anywhere. It's a cloud, right? Like you don't have a physical address. You don't have a physical location for the servers. Whereas with bare metal servers or sort of just generic servers, you have a physical location, a place that you can go and actually access your server, like physically access it. There's a hard drive, there's RAM, there's everything that a computer has. It's in a place, and that is your server. All the hard drive, RAM, and everything like that. So the reason that's important is because bare metal servers are what you'd want to use if you care about ping. If you want servers to operate correctly, you need to use bare metal servers when we're talking about video games. You can host in the cloud, but there's a lot of weirdness that can come like 1% of the time, and your ping can vary a lot more, and it's just not as good as hosting like a bare metal server. So if I'm implying that they're hosting on a cloud server, it would be implying that basically D11 has no idea what they're doing, or G-Portal has no idea what they're doing. That was not what I meant to say. I didn't mean to say that, but if someone got that idea from the way I was talking, I do apologize to D11. Yeah, they're hosting on bare metal servers. I still think that they have multiple Rust servers per bare metal server, but they didn't confirm or deny that. Basically, they said maybe they'll look into it, maybe they'll get back to me. But I don't think it would make sense to have just a physical server to it just wouldn't make sense, because basically, unless they're getting some sort of crazy deal, I don't think you could get a deal where a physical server would be $19, and I don't think D11 or G-Portal would be willing to take a loss just to help out the Rust community. And let's be honest, with all this crashing and all the problems, are they really even helping out? So yeah, I think they're hosting multiple Rust games or Rust servers per bare metal server, but I do not think that they are using the cloud or anything like that, and that has at least been confirmed. Now, the next point that I got wrong, and I do want to, like, there is a little bit of an update in here, so some of you are probably going to be happy about this, but the next point that I got wrong was I mentioned that I did not think D11 was working over the weekend. According to D11, there were definitely people working over the weekend. It was sort of an all-hands-on-deck weekend, which means everyone was just buried into the code trying to figure out what the issues were. I did fire back about communication, not seeing many updates or anything like that, and basically, it seems like what was going on is if there was an issue, they were trying to reach out to the people who were having the issue via DMs, stuff like that, to figure out exactly what was going on, to figure out what the error was, and then try and find it themselves. Sort of that's the deal. It sounds like basically it was all hands on deck, and the people who were responsible for updating us were more focused on just getting information regarding what bugs were occurring and how they were occurring, and there wasn't really an update to give to us. And the reason there wasn't an update to give to us is because they were just working hard to fix things. And I think the most annoying thing, and I do agree with this, is when something goes wrong and you just get a company saying like, we're looking into it every hour, because at some point you're just like, well, start looking into it and stop tweeting, buddy. Like, I need a solution here. I don't need you to tell me you're looking for a solution. So this sort of reminds me of the situation I was in, right? Like, I'm looking for a job because YouTube doesn't really pay the bills for me. If you want to help make it pay the bills, make sure you hit subscribe, hit like, watch some of my videos, support the channel. I'm not going to ask you to donate or anything like that, because honestly, just watching along, following the journey, that's enough for me. But anyways, back to the story. I'm looking for a job. I've got this recruiter I'm working with. He finds me like some interviews, do these interviews. I thought it went well, right? So I'm waiting to hear back from them. I want to hear a salary offer, okay? And in the end, like, this guy, like, one day just I get this call. I don't pick it up because I'm taking a poop, okay? So I'm taking a big old dump. And then I get a text. He's like, call me back. And I'm like, okay. He wouldn't just text me, call me back. And then he said like ASAP after that. And I'm like, okay. So, I pinch that shit off and wipe because I'm not some sort of animal. And then I get out, call this guy back, and he's like, "What's up, Serial?" I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" He's like, "You called me." I'm like, "Well, I called you because you asked me to call you back." He's like, "Yeah. Sorry if I made you rush on that. It's just I don't have any information yet, but we're getting close to getting some information." Anyways, that was just like I was not happy with that conversation, and this is years ago, so I still remember it. That tells you how weird it was. But I'm just like, who does that? I know that you're looking for information. I don't need a status update. You could have sent it as a text. You could have said, "Hey, still waiting," but who gives you a call, misses a call, says, "Call me back ASAP," and the thing that they had to tell you so importantly, so urgently, is that they don't have any information. That's pretty much the least urgent thing you could be telling me. So I can respect the fact that D11 had all hands on deck, but they didn't want to antagonize us by just doing these updates. They're like, "We have no information, we have no update." So talking to them, though, it seems like now they do have some updates ready to go. There's going to be something dropping. It might be dropping before this video drops, but most likely it sounds like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday type of thing. But yeah, it seems like their next update is going to fix a lot of the problems we have with community servers. And honestly, it seems like G-Portal's on top of it too. They're giving us an additional 2 days of free server time. So basically you're getting 4 days of free server time, which at $19 a month is basically like $2, which is the same as whatever you're drinking right now, unless you're drinking water, because honestly, water's pretty damn cheap. But yeah, it's a thought that counts. So I do appreciate the fact that they're giving us 4 free days to make up for the 4+ days that we sort of missed. I'd argue it was more like 5 to 6, but it is what it is. 4 days is pretty decent, I'd say. Anyways, getting back to it. Yeah, it seems like a lot of updates are going to be dropping to fix everything, and it seems like we should be good to go with community servers sometime this week. All this said, I would like to reiterate my points before. I do think this was a massive failure on D11's part, and honestly on G-Portal's part, but I'd put it mostly on D11 because they're the ones that picked G-Portal to host these servers. They should have been ready for this. Honestly, they should have done pre-orders. I saw the G-Portals doing pre-orders for another game. I don't know why they didn't do that for the console edition Rust. Saying that we just had too many people interested in buying servers, so things went wrong, is not good enough. Like, you need the community to grow. You need the game to keep getting bigger. You can't just go off of a base community, because as people drop off, you need people to replace them. And I think this was a chance that the console edition Rust had to actually make an impact, to actually bring people back, to say, hey, the game's changed. On launch, we messed up. We know that we promised community servers within the first month, but hey, 2 years later, we're doing it right this time. And this time, there's no crashes, there's no bugs. You buy your server, set it up, and you're in. And hey, if you accidentally wipe the server because you do something weird with recyclers, that is on you. And I agree, that is on people. Because a lot of people are just doing that, right? Like, they're doing something wrong, they're accidentally wiping the server, and then, instead of putting on their clown mask, they tell everybody it was D11. And D11 is honestly a very easy person to blame for anything that goes wrong at this point, because a lot of stuff is going wrong, right? So it's easy to slip one in there, you know what I mean? It's like, if there's some sort of like big terrorist attack and you decide to rob a gas station, you can just blame that robbery on the terrorists. Most people are going to buy it, right? But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, while I do make some corrections, while I do communicate with D11, while I'm not on bad terms with them, I do think that this was a major miss. Like, I'm happy to correct things that I got wrong, but I don't think I am wrong in my general feeling of saying that this was a major miss, because they were finally getting people back into the console edition of Rust. People were interested in it because servers were so cheap, because everything was going so well, and literally up until they launched community servers, it looked like this was going to be a major W. It looked like they were going to hit it out of the park. All they had to do is take pre-orders and pre-allocate enough hardware, right? All they had to do, that's the thing with bare metal. It's hard to spin bare metal up. One of the reasons that you go with cloud computing is because it's easy to spin new servers up. You just buy more, right? Like, it's super simple. It takes a little bit longer when you're doing it with bare metal. And that's why if you're doing something like this with bare metal, with physical servers, you probably want to do pre-orders. And I saw G-Portal did it with another game, so I don't know why the console edition of Rust got this treatment. I don't know why they didn't do pre-orders. They had this issue happen on test, and they should have known that it was going to happen to a greater extent when it went to main. And they for some reason, they still dropped the ball. And that's why I'm mad, because honestly, it was an opportunity for everybody. It wasn't just D11 that had this opportunity, right? G-Portal had the opportunity to get a lot more customers. Anyone who's doing Rust Console Edition content had the opportunity to reach a lot more people. People who are hosting servers had the opportunity to get more people into their servers because there'd just be more people playing Rust. And everybody who played had an opportunity to get their friends back into Rust. And a lot of people were doing that. A lot of people were saying, hey, jump into the game now. Community servers are dropping. This is a wipe that you want to join. And what did people get? They got the classic crust experience. So now they're walking away with that experience. And do you think people are going to come back a third time? Even look at a company like Bethesda, right? Or look at a game like No Man's Sky. Those, like Bethesda had a great reputation with Skyrim, and just over the course of a decade, they've managed to chip away at it. And at this point, I don't think people trust Bethesda like they used to. And it's the same with No Man's Sky. Like, just they had a horrible launch. They managed to recover, but a lot of people are still never going to trust the game. Even Cyberpunk, a game that I thought actually was pretty good on launch, and a game that I think has only gotten better. And I think it is one of the best games ever made. It still lost a lot of people because that console edition release was horrible. And they've made up for it. They've made amends. Their second launch went perfectly. And I think there's a lot of people who still just won't accept their apology, just won't say, like, you've done enough. They've added everything people asked for and more, and people are still saying, nah, this isn't it. You messed up and I'm not coming back. How many people are saying that right now with the console edition, Russ? How many people are saying they're not coming back because they did? They came back after 2 years to see community servers, and they got the same experience that they got on launch. It's frustrating, right? And it's something that I think people should be upset about, right? Like, it's a huge L. It's a huge L. No matter whether you're doing it on bare metal or cloud, whether you're working the weekend or not, it's just a huge L. And all they had to do was take pre-orders and pre-allocate the machines. I think like a lot of these issues, there were other issues, but a lot of the issues really just stemmed from not having enough machines available. And it would have been so easy to fix that, you know. And even if you do it on test and it doesn't go well, they did a test and it didn't seem to go well. I guess too many people joined in. Maybe you just push it back a month. Don't hit that 2023 date. Aim for 2024 and give us something in return. Say, like, hey, we're going to miss the 2023 date. So you know what? That Hazzy skin, everybody gets it for free. I guarantee you a lot of people would be in their camp then, right? A lot of people would say, hey, if you're giving out the hazmat skin for free, like, you're taking a huge L just like we are. We're not getting community servers in 2023, 2022, or 2021. So they might accept that bite a little bit more. They might accept it a little bit more. But instead they rushed to launch and they botched it. And honestly, like, there's only so many chances you get, and I fear that this was a really big miss, and I fear that this is one that they're not going to be able to recover from, because at some point that just has to happen. At some point, it's just game over. You've made too many mistakes, and people start dropping, and you can't support the game anymore. I'm hoping this isn't the case. I'm hoping that the recovery is going to mean that people are happy with community servers, come back to the game, and really do enjoy it, because I think there's a lot to love about the console edition Rust. I think there's also a lot to get over as far as adoption, though, and I think that is the hurdle, and these issues are not making it any easier. Anyways, yeah, until next time, peace.